lot of shows here. So yes, I'm Sue Bear. I'm a local accountant. Some of you might have heard of me. I see some friendly faces out there, which is so nice for me. So thank you for coming. I'm going to tell you guys a story about how I moved my accounting business out of my house and into a brand new building. Closer. Okay, that's a 9 Inch Nails song, Closer. So here we go. Oh, and don't ask me about any Trump laws later either, even though you've heard I'm an accountant. So, for years I'd been going to this building in Ghent down the road from my house for a doctor's office. And we'll call the doctor that I went there to Dr. Feelgood, because we don't want to name any names. And the building that he worked out of and the doctor's office was this building that I really liked the building. I always felt called to it. And I always somehow felt that it was going to be mine, but that made no sense because it had a doctor's office in it, and that was the only way I was able to see it, was by going to it as a doctor, a doctor's office. So over the years going there, it turned out that I had had cancer, and I was being misdiagnosed in this building. So back to 2012, when I checked my blood work, I'd had lymphoma, but he didn't catch it. And I kept going back and saying, you know, I'm sick, I've got this rash. He said, oh, go home and paint RIT all over your body, and said, you have scabies, which was clearly wrong. And then I went in again, and months and months later, and I said, gosh, I really feel awful. I said, my chest is heavy, I don't feel very good. And he said, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You probably have bursitis, which I don't even think you can have bursitis in your shoulder and in your chest, but that's what he told me. And I was like, gosh, it doesn't feel right. I said, I feel like I need some scans or something like that. And he goes, don't worry about it. You're fine. I said, Doc, don't you really get sick of hearing about people? They're fine, they're fine, they're fine. And then 3 months later, they're dead of cancer. And he said, don't worry about it. You're fine. So 2 weeks after that, I've been running around for the last several months like someone with Tourette's, going, I need scans. So my husband, Tom, he said to me, I'm going to take you into the Columbia Memorial ER, and you're going to tell them that you have chest pain, and you're going to get all the scans you want. And sure enough, I was sick. I had lymphoma. So, needless to say, I dumped that doctor, and which meant I couldn't go to that building anymore. But a couple months later, after I'd gotten better, woohoo, I'm better, by the way. Woo, thank you. So after I was better, I was still working out of the house with my business, and boy, it really gives you a new appreciation for what you do after you've been sick. You're sick of working when you're working, but have that taken away from you and find out how much gratitude you have for the work that you do and your physical mobility when you spend 5 months peeing your pants in bed. So, I'm driving by the building, and every time I drove by, my head would glance over. I gotta see this place. And I see a for sale sign out front. Wow, I always thought the hospital owned it. Wonder what they want for it. I barely made it home without trying to check my phone on Realtor.com to see how much they wanted for this building. They wanted almost $400,000. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of steep, but it makes sense. It's got 12 rooms, 4 bathrooms, paved parking lot, 4 acres of land. But you know what? It's free to go look at it. Even though I've seen the building, I want to look at it. So they showed me spaces that I hadn't seen in the back and the basement and such. I was like, gosh, this would be so perfect for my accounting office. It's really outgrowing my house. And so I thought, well, it was free to look. It's free to now make an offer. It'll maybe cost me a little, put down $1,000. Say I'm serious. I offered them $240,000, far less than they had been asking for it. But, believe it or not, they took the offer. I argued and argued and argued. I said, I gotta have this building. So, with the accepted offer, I went to the bank to try to get financing. Well, Fee Bank, says, well, it's about $75,000 you need to come up with for a down payment. Well, I had about $10,000 in savings. I have a child in a Waldorf school. That explains why a CPA with 27 years experience only has a $10,000 savings account. And I have 14 animals as well. So I go through the loan process and I'm thinking, man, where am I going to come up with 65 more thousand? Thanks for that reminder. But I managed to come up with it. I ended up going with a different loan that I only had to come up with 10% down. So $24,000. So I end up getting this building. So psyched. I renovate the place. The first thing I do is go into those rooms that I was misdiagnosed in, and I decide to make that my office. So I tear down the walls and I make a big office. And I'm standing now, when I work, in the same place that I was misdiagnosed, but it's all transformed. So fast forward to, I have my open house. Day of the open house, everybody leaves after a very nice time. And I thought, I want to spend a little few moments to myself in this building and with gratitude. And then as I left, since I'm a little bit of an ass, I see my name in lights. And I think, oh, isn't that funny? Like Hollywood, my name in lights. I'm going to stop my car and I'm going to take a picture of myself, my name in lights. And as I'm looking at the sign, there's these two orbs and they're dancing above the sign. And Wild as the Wind is playing by Bon Jovi. And I'm so touched that I have this beautiful place to now work out of. Thank you.